Hey everybody, how's it going? Marcos Villegas here in Los Angeles, being joined with Kathy Duva, who's promoting this fight with her fighter Sergey Kovalev going against Tervel Pulev, who honestly I didn't even know Pulev had a brother, and I saw him and he looks big. But Sergey, moving up in weight. When he told you about wanting to fight again and this move up in weight class, how did that come off to you?
You know, if he had been a lower weight class, this would have happened years ago, right? But this is a 25-pound jump. This is huge. And there was a time earlier in his career where I couldn't imagine it. But you can see how he looks now, how he's just filled out. He was so unnaturally skinny trying to make 75. He's over 200 pounds now, and he still looks thin. So he's got the body, he can carry the weight. And he's got to try because, most fighters, when they outgrow a weight class, they can move up, and make a legacy that way. Well, he really gets one shot at this because I don't think heavyweight is in his future. But I think it's a perfect way for him to cap his career, rather than being what do you call it, the guy that the light heavyweights are gunning for. Let him be the guy who's gunning for the cruiserweights. That's the role he's most comfortable in, being the guy who's got the goal, who's got to go reach it. And so that's what he's going to do. And he wants to cap his career by being the cruiserweight champ, so I'm going to do everything I can in my power to make that happen.
Why didn't this happen before, the move up? Because he was telling me that the last few times making 175 was really, really hard on him.
He got offered the Canelo fight. That's what happened.
The plan was to move him up before the Canelo fight?
Well, it was clearly he had reached the point where he was going to have to decide, am I going to go fight these young light heavyweights or am I going to move up, right? Well, he fought Canelo in, November of 2019, okay? Well, in March of 2019 was the first time Golden Boy approached us about doing the fight. So he had just fought. He was going to go to Russia to fight. He had a mandatory. We were clearly getting to this point where we were going to be making a decision. And then Canelo calls. So of course he wasn't gonna go down in weight at that point. Of course he had to take that challenge, and of course he earned the biggest payday of his career, which is, again, it's prize fighting. These guys have to live off what they make for the rest of their lives for the most part. So there's no way he could have passed up that opportunity, and he did everything he had to make that weight. He fought 3 times in rapid succession in 2019, draining himself down, staying down there unnaturally for a year. It drained him terribly. And no complaints, not an excuse. We didn't make excuses after the fight. But now he's going to try this at the higher weight, and we're going to find out if it benefits him or it doesn't. I've seen fighters go up in weight, and it's the best thing that ever happened to them. I've seen other fighters do it, and it was the biggest mistake they ever made. So we're all going to learn together on May 14th.
I would imagine a lot of fans are wondering, how much is left of Sergey at this point. Have you had a heart-to-heart with him at all to ask him, hey, how much time do you want to spend left in this sport, or how are you, physically and mentally now?
Well, he told us, I want to win the cruiserweight title. He was very specific. He's always been very specific about his goals, and my job is to help him get there. So. Finally found the way to do it, and we're really excited that the Triller people saw our vision and want to go along with it.
Given the last time fans saw him fight in 2019 against Canelo and he suffered a knockout, did that affect him at all? Or does he just kind of look at it and brush it off like Manny and Duran and other fighters have in the past, hey, it can happen to anybody? Or was it something where little by little, he kind of had to get over that mental hump?
I think he had to do that after losing the Ward fight that he had actually won. That was the hardest time I've ever seen him have. As you pointed out, great champions, they can lose a fight and come back. That is part of what makes you a great champion. That's how you get to the Hall of Fame. So I'm not surprised at all that his desire was to continue. He doesn't want to go out having lost a fight where he was ahead on one of the cards when the fight got stopped. I could see why he feels if I wasn't drained, if I could be at my full strength, maybe things would be different. So he'll go win the cruiserweight title, and we'll see if Canelo wants to fight him again at cruiserweight.
Well, yeah, he wants to. I didn't even ask him about that, but yeah, Canelo said he wants to go up to cruiserweight. I don't know if he's going to actually do it. I would imagine he is, but what do you make of him moving up to cruiserweight?
I have nothing but admiration for Canelo because, you know what, you're supposed to want a bigger challenge. You're supposed to want to go. Once you've beat everybody in your weight class, comes a point where you got to keep yourself interested. That's what great fighters do. Canelo's a great fighter. And so, I mean, I joke about him and Sergey, but stranger things have happened.
When you look at the division, like, who out there do you think is like his fight, his big fight? Like his fight was his big fight for super middleweight. 175, he was there, and Canelo was the big fight. Who do you see in the landscape that can be that fight for him?
Well, when Sergey started, I was told by someone at HBO, who I won't name, that, your problem is he's a light heavyweight and there's nobody in the light heavyweight division. And at that time I said, no, he's going to be the one. And he owned the light heavyweight division as long as he was active in it, actually. I think he's going to be the one in the cruiserweight division. Once he gets the title, they're going to have to come after him because there's no one in that division right now that is so well known, at least in this country, that that they're the man. There's no one cruiserweight that you can look at and say, well, he's the man. Not since Usyk moved up. So maybe Sergey becomes the man at cruiser. We're going to find out.
Would Makabu, just given the notoriety that Canelo gave him, was that a pathway there, like you guys are actively looking at, or do you want to go the Breedis route? Like, is there already like plans that you are thinking about, like, okay, I want to take him this route, or I want to take him this route?
We've thought about it, but I'm not going to talk about that until he proves he can hang with these guys. He's in there with a big guy, and we're going to find out. And I have great confidence in him that he will, because he always seems to reach his goals. But I think it would be foolish to get ahead of ourselves at this point and start planning his next fight.
True, he has a fight, and this guy's a lot bigger than him, and it's a new weight class. Something was brought up in interviews here that was kind of interesting because you experienced both. Him against Andre Ward and him against Canelo. There's been a lot of comparisons between Andre Ward and Canelo, like who would win by fans, like hypotheticals. To you, who's was a harder fight for Sergey? Who's a better fighter in general?
Wow. I mean, they're so different, but if they got in the ring together, I'd have to pick Canelo. Andre Ward's terrific, but Canelo is superhuman. I have been astonished by what he's accomplished. You know what? As good as Ward is, he's not challenged himself the way Canelo has. He picked and he spent years sitting out, right? Voluntarily, he didn't have to. That to me, and again, nothing against him. He managed his career however he needed to. Whatever his deal is his deal. But when you compare what he's accomplished to what Canelo's accomplished, it's night and day. And I know he's a terrific boxer, and I know he's great with the head games, and he did a very effective job on Sergey with that for sure. We knew it was coming. We did everything we could think of to stop it, but he's good at it. I don't know if that works on Canelo. He's been there and done more. So if you asked me to pick, who'd win if they were head to head, and I don't know who's the better fighter, because you could put two great fighters together and twice to get two different results, right? But I think head-to-head, Canelo beats anybody he wants to fight, basically.
Oh, you're going to get a lot of people fired up.
I am a huge fan of his. Huge fan of his.
I had a next question, but I kind of lost my thought.
More, but having said that, I do. We work with the Dimitri people, and Canelo better not sleep on Dimitri. Because again, having said all the things I said about Canelo, and he is great. He's going to be fighting a young, motivated fighter who's a tremendous boxer, incredibly disciplined, and we all risk getting in the ring, and it's the other guy's night and it's not yours. So I would not sleep on Dimitri Bivol. If he were to win, it wouldn't shock me.
Wouldn't shock you at all?
No, not.
Why not?
Because he is young and disciplined, and he will not, I don't believe he will be, how do I put it? I don't think he's going to get so distracted by the lights in the crowd. And he's not that kind of person. He's going to go in there with one goal, and it's going to be to win the fight. And again, Sergey, who's a terrific boxer, right? He was ahead. He gassed. That's what was happening to a guy who was drained and getting older. So here you've got a much younger version of Sergey in some respects, and if someone will beat him someday, no matter how much he challenges himself, because that's just what's going to happen. Whoever Canelo is today could beat someone and then fight the same guy 2 years from now and lose, right? So I don't know at what point that happens to him, but a guy who continues to challenge himself the way Canelo does, it will happen. And that's no shame in that. And, you know, Dimitri is going to be as motivated as can be and as prepared as can be. And I know Canelo won't sleep on him, but no, if Dimitri were to come out and outbox him, it wouldn't shock me.
Okay, me thinking, many fans have said that. Like they've said that he has to be aggressive. He can't try to box Canelo because maybe something like what's happened with Sergey will happen with him. Canelo will time him with something big and put him down. Do you feel that, you know, you just said he can't, but is that the right strategy to try to box a Canelo, or should he be aggressive and try to push Canelo back?
Yeah, I'm not the strategist. I'm the strategist when it comes to publicity. I don't try to make those judgments. But he has a tremendous trainer, and he works really hard, and he will be prepared, I'm sure.
All right, Kathy, you might yell at me.
What?
This next question. Just your opinion, and I was trying to ask Sergey his opinion and not trying to get political. I was going to say, is it fair for, you know, the Klitschkos and others to boycott athletes from making a living or fighting here in the United States, given the conflict that's happening overseas?
Look, the Klitschkos are heroes, superheroes. I'm not going to say a negative word about either one of them because they deserve all the praise and prayers in the world, and they have mine. Sergey is a permanent resident of the United States. He's lived here for over 10 years. His son his children, his son and his daughter are being raised here. They are American citizens. His wife has applied for her citizenship. Sergey will go next. He is the American immigrant story. Part of the reason Aegis is trying to protect him is that making it as complicated an answer as that is not something he's capable of doing in English, and it's frustrating for him when he can't express what he wants to say. He would be the wrong person to go after, I believe, for all those reasons. And Bivol was born in Kyrgyzstan. He will carry the Kyrgyzstan flag into the ring. He is not going into the ring representing Russia. They are not representing Russia in any way. Again, Sergey is a guy who knew 10 years ago, knew enough to get out. And I think that I cannot criticize anything that Klitschkos say or believe because I could never put myself in their position. I respect their opinion enormously. But there's another side to the coin, and I think that the fact that these fighters have to leave Russia and come to the United States to be successful is as much of an indictment of the Russian system as anything. And that's what they had to do. They were not able to be world champions staying in Russia. It can't be done. A lot of things can't be done there because it is a repressive society where people are not, the only way you can have a fight in Russia is if you have a friendly oligarch who wants to put the money up. Here, you earn your money. And I think, you know, the guys who have left there and made their lives here in order to become successful should be praised. And I think that to go after them might be giving a win to Putin that he doesn't deserve.
So if they were to cancel the Canelo versus Bivol fight, which I don't think they will, but if they were based on that, do you think it would be fair overall, or do you think it would be making a statement, a fair one?
I think two things can be true at the same time. Truly, life isn't black and white.
No, it's not.
And so I understand the sentiment completely. I also understand the side of people who had absolutely nothing to do with what's going on, have never voiced any support for Putin in their lives, are just as much, you know, they live in a repressive society in Russia. My daughter, she lived in Russia for a while. She has a lot of friends there. She says everybody there is against the war. They're just afraid to say it. And they have to be afraid to say it because they can throw them in jail for 15 years for just saying the word war right now. It's hard for us to imagine what life in a place like that must be like. And I feel that they are, in many respects, the people of Russia are victims of Putin as much, certainly not as much as the people in Ukraine, but in a way they really are. If this continues, they are going to get shut off from the world like in the days of the Iron Curtain again. And that's going to be tragic for the people of Russia, too. So my feeling is I pray for everybody. I know people I love, Usyk and Lomachenko, friends. I know the Klitschko brothers. You know, I think about them every morning. I wake up in the middle of the night and I check my feed to make sure everybody's still alive. It's horrible. And I know, again, guys like Usyk and Sergey and Bivol, they've got friends in Ukraine too, and they're very, very upset and very concerned about them. And yet, they are very limited in what they can say because they have family there. And you can't do that to them. You cannot be a high-profile dissident in that country. The price is too much to pay, and I wouldn't expect any of them to have to pay that price.
All right, Kathy, hey, I appreciate that. Yes, what are you going to tell me? Yeah.
Well, so we just launched a network. And
Oh, yes, I got an email about it. Your whole library's on there.
email and nobody read it. So I am going to tell you about it, okay? All you have to do is go to your browser and type in watchboxing.tv. Watchboxing.tv.
Watchboxing.tv.
All I can tell you, if you like boxing, just go and look. And
Holyfield, who else?
everyone who ever fought for main events going back to like the 1980s.
List them.
Oh, come on.
You got to sell the people, come on.
Holyfield, Whitaker, Mark Breland. Gaddy, all of Gaddy's career just about is on there. The Meldrick Taylors, Rocky Lockridge, Johnny Bumpus, going to the earlier ones. We have a lot of fighters who fought for us once or twice, like George Foreman and Mike Tyson. And some Oscar De La Hoya's on there. Fernando Vargas's whole career. We go on and on and on. And Sergey's whole career and all of the fights going back to the 80s. They have upgraded them to HD. They are little by little, adding more all the time. By the end of the year, we expect to be in somewhere between 80 and 90 million homes. And the message I really want to send out there is it's free. All you have to do is have an internet browser. And it's also going to be on platforms. And when you go on that website, you will see the platforms if you want to switch over to one of them, or you can just watch it online. But when you turn it on, there's a streamer on the bottom that's going to tell you which fights are coming up. And you just start watching. Everybody I know who's a fan tells me the same thing. I turned it on and I couldn't turn it off. And you see things like you just don't expect, and they just pop up. And it's like, oh my God, that fight. The other day I was looking, and it was Lewis and Briggs, and I forgot how amazing that fight was. It's a tremendous fight. When I think about Lennox, I think about Mike Tyson and some of the really great fights. But I forgot. Wow, Lewis and Briggs was a hell of a fight. And so, I want to put the word out is like, look at this. In time, we'll grow. We'll have live fights. We plan to do it weekly. It's going to take a while to get the whole thing up and running, but we're very excited about it.
Watchboxing.tv.
Watchboxing.tv.
Kathy, hey, it's been a while since I spoke to you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Yeah, he's crying over the launch of Watchboxing.tv. Here with Kathy Duva, Marcos Villegas for Fight Hub TV.